bash, bosh, what a tournament. We are here for Gamers8 as we've got ourselves, shush you, we've got ourselves one more series here for the day. It's been a long one so far here in the Swiss format. And now we are going to have Classic going up against ByuN to find out who also goes 2-0. Because if you go 2-0, you're in a really great spot. And then you're going to go up against all those other people that went 2-0, and that's a really difficult match tomorrow. You stop that as well, Ben. I've got Ben here as well as Nick.
Bish, bash, bosh, indeed.
What a tournament.
And if you go 2-0, you're in a really good spot, Nick. Like, that's
you might even get a chance to go 3-0. Wow. That's really cool.
And you go up against another guy that's 2-0. That's kind of bad.
Yeah, that is kind of bad.
That's scary.
All right, let's actually talk about the game. We've got ByuN going up against Classic. It's actually a really good matchup here, Tasteless, considering the skill level that they're at. ByuN right now, obviously a lot of people looking at him as being in really great form. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, ByuN has said that I think partially because GSL was taken out of the studio for Season 1, I think there was a general feel in the Korean scene like, oh my God, StarCraft 2 maybe isn't in a great spot for now. ByuN said he really wanted to make this year an excellent one. Obviously, GSL back in the studio now, but I think that kind of jump-started him. It kind of put the fear of God in his heart as he realizes, okay, I need to really try to bring back the glory that I had in the past.
Ben, your thoughts coming in?
You know, Classic played really good in his stage match. He's already played on stage. Like, he played phenomenal. He took out one of the big favorites in Reno, and he looked smooth doing it. I always have this kind of worry when it comes to ByuN, when it comes to a big stage match. Because, we all kind of remember Yeon Shaping, where it's like, pause, pause, pain, pain, pause, pause. And I mean, sympathy for the man. He does so good when it's not stage matches and he's doing like cruising on the B stream or whatever. But now going up against Classic, I just hope that the games are not like interrupted in any way like that, and I just hope that he can keep it together because he's very good in this matchup. He is relentless with his aggression as well. He's not one of these Terrans that, oh yeah, I'm gonna take a third base. He is like, no, 2 base, 5 barracks, go, go, go.
Yeah.
And like, he's one of the only guys that can pull that off as well.
It's an interesting contrast as well between the two, I feel, Nick, when you look at them, because ByuN, I feel like, plays a very loud style, as Ben is kind of elaborating here, but Classic, just quietly excellent recently, and just, again, quietly raising up the ranks since military, and just looking good, being able to hang with these guys that, he used to be able to beat and also become a champion again.
Yeah, ByuN, he's always won in the same way, right? He'll take a lot of fights that maybe other players wouldn't, and a lot of times he wins and comes out on top with that. It's one of the reasons why sometimes he's not the best player to try to study if you want to figure out how to play the game, because he's so good at these certain way of taking fights. Classic, on the other hand, he needs a little bit of time. He's a little bit of a slow cook, right? Yeah. But if he can really lab out all of his ideas, if he can come in here with a lot of new approaches that I think are true to the way he plays the game, he should be fine, and it does seem like so far today he's done that.
An issue could be, of course, that last time they did meet against each other, ByuN was victorious, Ben, going into that. I mean, that was, what, about a month-ish ago when that actually went down. And since then, Classic's TVP has not looked fantastic, so maybe he's got to bring something different here to Gamers8.
I mean, Classic's the kind of guy that, you watch him play, and like all those APM charts came up, and it's like rocking 180, 200 APM, so he's definitely one of the slower players. Like,
what are you trying to say about Protoss?
I'm not saying anything about Protoss, although I can say a lot about Protoss. But it's almost like, Stalk style, the dinosaur Protoss. Like, he's very good and calm and calculated about what he does. But it's like, ByuN is totally the opposite. He's so eccentric and energetic. And if Classic can in some way slow the game down to his pace, where it's like, okay, I deflect that drop well. Now I set up for this one. Like, it's all working out for him. But he just has to get the reins on ByuN, because ByuN, he's a raging bull. And I feel like this is one of those scenarios where if it starts to go wrong for ByuN, Classic has a chance. Yeah. If it doesn't, then Classic has 0 chance whatsoever.
Sometimes there were moments in that matchup, though, when Terran is so aggressive and tries to set the pace, that Protoss tries to, outgun them almost and, even get ahead of them, Nick. So, I mean, maybe Classic could bring that, but it's not usually kind of the tendency that he would exude.
I think that the way this is going to look if Classic wins this is he has to basically sidestep or outlive whatever ByuN's going to do.
For sure.
ByuN's going to have some moment that's going to culminate in a big attack. It might be on 2 bases, it might be on 3. He's probably going to come in at a different position or a different angle, maybe get a little bit of harass moves in there before he actually comes in there for that killing blow. And Classic has to figure out what that is and how to get ahead of it. Do you try to directly counter the unit comp? Do you try to rely on some kind of counterattack? Do you maybe cheese? I think he probably won't cheese or do anything too crazy, but we'll see. But And then it's going to be up to Classic to try to close the game out.
I always eventually like his Blink Stalker defense, being able to try and shut down those drops if they're able to come along here. Classic, though, is on the path to potential greatness. Once again, we shall see as we've got Bish Bash Bosh. What a stage here at Gamers8. It's the final series of day number 1.
For our last match of the day, our two competitors stand at 50-50 in matches won and lost against each other. Bit of a tiebreaker today.
It's gonna be amazing أعزائنا المشاهدين. آخر مباراة عندنا اليوم راح نشهد شيء ما قد شهدناه في هذا اليوم بالكامل، ما أتوقع أن نشهده مرة ثانية لأنه عندنا كل الخصمين بينهم هيستوري جدا عريق وكلهم 50-50% الفوز البعض. ما حد يدري مين بيكون الفائز.
What an incredible opportunity to watch these two storied players play here tonight. It's been a long day for both of them. It's testing their will and their ability to stay awake. So we're gonna need all your energy, chat, and everyone in here.
An all Korean match-up أعزائنا المشاهدين، هذا اللي راح نشوفه لأنه زي ما احنا عارفين من أقدم اللاعبين اللي موجودين معنا في عالم ستار كرافت هو بيكون كلاسيك، أيضا حتى بيون نفس الكلام، فخلونا نشوف وش اللي ممكن يقدمونه اللاعبين هذولي، وعلى طول ودنا نرحب باللاعب الأول.
Well, our two players are ready, and I'm ready for the final match of the day, so
Let's
let's bring them out. Representing Twisted Minds, it's Classic! Twisted Minds, of course, the local Saudi team. They're here to support Classic, and Classic is here to entertain them. Like we said, it's been a 50-50 win rate between him and ByuN, but Classic did take out Raynor earlier today, so he's riding a bit of a high.
كلاسيك في ثاني ظهور له على المسرح من فريق تويستد مايند، الفريق المحلي السعودي الممثل لهذا اللاعب. صراحة أداؤه في الجيم اللي لعبناه قدام رينر كان عظيم جدا. رينر يعتبر هو الثاني الافضل في العالم، ومع كذا كلاسيك قدر انه يهزمه، لكن الان بيكون عنده ماتش اب قد لعبوا مرات كثيره، لكن المره هذه راح نشوف اذا بيقدر يفوز فيها ولا لا، فخلونا نرحب باللاعب الثاني. من فريق شابوفاي ريبليون بيون. بيون في بداية اليوم واجه أحد أقوى اللاعبين اللي متواجدين معنا، الليزر من تيم ليكويد، وهزمه في الجروب ستيج وحصل على الفوز الأول. الآن هو على طريقه أن يحصل على الفوز الثاني، وبعدها انتصاره واحدة فقط، وبعدها يضمن تواجده معنا في المرحلة القادمة من جيمرز 8 ستار كرافت. لكن لا ننسى أنه هو دائما قدام كلاسيك مبارياتهم جدا كثيرة، وحط ببالك انه كل المباريات هذه من تاريخ 2017 الى اللحظه هذه تكون 50-50 النتيجه، فمستحيل ان الارقام تقدر تعلمك وش نتيجه هذه المباراه.
ByuN, 3rd, 4th at GSL Season 1 Code S, and one of my favorite players to watch play in the GSL. He's here today representing Shopify Rebellion, and here on stage because he took out E-Laser. Let's see if he can take out Classic.
وهذه المباراة بتكون من أحمس المباريات، خصوصا ان الماتش بين الريسز بتكون جدا رهيبة. تيرن ضد بروتوس، دائما تستمتع انك تشوفها، استراتيجيات اللي ممكن يطلعونها بتكون جدا مختلفة، فخلونا على طول نرحب باللاعبين في كراسيهم.
Gentlemen, I'd like to invite you to the center stage to shake hands. It's already getting exciting.
زي ما تشوفون التاريخ اللي بينهم وضح لنا قبل شوي، حتى بيون يقول ما راح اسلم عليك، لكن على طول نبي نشوف المعلقين ونسلم عليهم هم، ونروح على طول نشوف المباراة الأخيرة معنا في هذا اليوم. بالتوفيق لهم كلهم، وعلى طول مع المعلقين.
If it's that spicy on stage, I can't wait to see what it's like in game. Let's send it to the casters.
Oh my God, what a match we have here. A couple of champions, multiple tournament wins under their belt, both coming back into great form as of late. I'm Artosis, joined by Rotterdam. How you doing, buddy?
Long day, but we've seen some absolutely amazing StarCraft, and I'm really excited for this, man, because Classic, he kicked the day off with that amazing best of 3 against Raynor. Those void rays at the end of game 1, Artosis, that's not even how StarCraft 2 looks, okay? That's what we see in the cinematic trailer. It's like, oh, void rays, perfect concave. Then you play the game, and they all get fungal and parasitic bombs, but he displayed some great micro. That's not often we talk about with those kind of units.
Yeah.
In game 2 as well, multiple groups of Stalkers, High Templars moving back and forth, avoiding every single baneling. I was blown away. ByuN on the other end, we know that he beat the laser, and we haven't seen him yet on the main stage, and we actually don't really know how he's doing today.
Yeah, like he did beat a laser, like you said, but we don't know exactly what his form looked like in that match. Now, that being said, ByuN, honestly, right now is in excellent shape. He has been playing some magnificent games lately. I think the peak of his play is top of the world. Like, if he plays his absolute best throughout the tournament, he'll win.
That's a big statement, Artie McDowell.
Yeah, well, that would be assuming Mario doesn't play his best. But, but no, really, I think that his best play right now is championship level. I really think he's filled out his play, especially in the last, 6 months or so. I'm a big fan of him right now. I think he's a more complete player than he has ever been, including when he was a world champion.
No, I think that's for all the right reasons. I think everybody knows that ByuN, if he brings his A+ game, yes, he can absolutely take out every single player in this tournament. I don't necessarily see him as one of the top favorites to win it, and that's also because we often don't know how well will he maintain his composure, right, throughout a tournament like this. We've seen him sometimes play a great initial best of 3, and then the second one is just, it almost feels like we're looking at a completely different player. Hopefully, that is not going to happen this time around here. The absolute last best of 3 of the day. In the bottom left side, we are looking at the main base of our Korean Terran player, representing the Shopify Rebellion. This is ByuN.
And of course, his opponent, one of the best Protosses in the world for many, many years. In the top right, it is Classic.
You know, Artie, I gotta give you kudos, obviously, for that Classic hype train you started in Katowice a couple months ago, almost half a year ago at this point.
Yeah.
You were on it way before. You were the conductor of that hype train. And we all know Classic is good, but you were really hyping it up, and he delivered. He actually played a very solid tournament, didn't end up winning it or something, but it was just, I think, a performance that exceeded a lot of expectations. But now you're really loving ByuN, so where's the heart, Artie McDowell? Where's your heart right now?
Yeah. No, it's a real hard one because I have been watching and casting a lot of ByuN games lately, so I know exactly how strong he is with his best play, but I can't diss my boy Classic. Like, Classic is so legitimately good, and honestly, right after he got out of the military, he was like one map away from getting in GSL multiple times against the best players in the world, like Zest, and I think it might have even been Maru the second time, something like that. It was crazy matches where he just barely didn't make it. So he has been in good shape for a while. We saw it at Katowice. He was playing very good games. We've seen it today. He's playing very good games. And don't forget, historically, he has one of the best win rates in this matchup.
Now, he is an animal. Interesting start here. We have one of the first SCVs heading towards the other side of the map, dropping in the eBay. Now, a lot of pros players, when they see that this is happening, they're going to build a Zealot, pull a couple probes, because they just want to take their natural. Classic looked at it and said, like, nah, can be bothered, or saw it a little bit too late, and it's just going to take this base at 12 o'clock, which could obviously open the doors for Reapers and Hellions to find a lot of damage. It is really difficult, and I almost feel you're forced to play Stargate here, right? If you don't play Stargate, how do you defend that base at 12 o'clock and your main at the same time?
No, you're definitely right about that. It's most likely going to be Stargate, and the thing is, I don't even like the Nexus being built out of position. I don't like it. That's too wide open over there. You can't make any SimCity. And ByuN knows. Look at this. He just starts Reactor at Hellions. Like, you're not going to be able to mine from this Nexus for a really long time.
Do you think it's Oracle first, or do you think there is a world where maybe we go Shield Battery Phoenix?
No, he's not going to go Phoenix. I don't think so. As soon as you use up your lifts, you're going to be in a lot of trouble right there. I mean, the thing is, Classic is quite good with Phoenix openers. Hey, what if it's a Void Ray?
No. If it is a Void Ray, I'm storming out of this roommate and I'm dragging the Muslim back in. No. We'll see. Target is about
he would love to talk about a super duper great strat like that.
Oh, there was Phoenix on the production tab, but he changed his mind. He's like, nope, I don't want to go Phoenix.
Yeah.
I do want to go Oracle.
No, he misclicked that real quick. He was just teasing you, Roddy. I saw your eyes light up. You were so happy when you saw that, but not going to be the case. It is going to be the Oracle. That's going to be able to power down Phoenixes very quickly, or rather, power down Hellions very quickly. But look, this is exactly what we knew what was going to happen. Oh my gosh, already a lot of kills.
Yep, that's 5 workers going down. The 3 Hellions still relatively healthy. They can still get another volley of shots off. The Oracle does show up, activates Pulsar Beam. Oh, but now we are 1 Hellion short to get another few shots off. But in the end, Stompmouse still managed to grab 1 extra worker. Yeah, that's not great for Classic, because ByuN did drop his own CC on his side of the map, on location even. The worker counts now 28 against 27. And that's not a place that a Protoss player ever want to find itself in.
Yeah, definitely a good opener here from ByuN, outdoing Classic without a doubt. Catches that Oracle when it comes by, gets the scan off and the kill! Oh my god! See, I told you, ByuN is in such good shape.
Yeah, but losing the Cyclone, that's a little bit annoying, because now you have to worry about a couple of Adepts, and obviously with that Stalker, there is some good micro potential there as well. Losing 1 Adept stings a little, but we still have 1-shot potential on the side of the Protoss. Phoenix could lift the Cyclone, should lift the Cyclone, and will lift the Cyclone. ByuN is losing a lot of mining time here and a decent amount of SCVs.
Well, he loses 3 SCVs. The Stalker does look like it should be able to get away here. The Phoenix, as well as the Robo coming up back at home. Are we going to see him go into Colossus Phoenix, do you think?
Well, we've seen a lot of crazy attacks today in PvT. You know, it's good to be an Immortal into a Warp Prism and we attack, and then we are both very confused.
Oh my god.
More, but
yeah.
He's making extra Stalkers though, so perhaps Classic has been looking at some of these attacks Creator made earlier today in that bonkers series against Hero Marine. He's like, you know what? I like it. Cyclone very close to dying, and it does fall. ByuN loses his 2nd Cyclone of the game, and now once more, these Stalkers have all the freedom in the world to just kite these Marines for days. No bunker, no stim. It's very tough.
Trading back and forth non-stop. The Phoenix flies in and continues to micro against those Marines. 4 Stalkers coming down, 2 of them very, very low at the moment. ByuN pushing forward, trying to secure those kills. Is going to knock out a couple of Stalkers here. The other 2 should get away, but look at Classic, just relentlessly chasing.
Classic could have done it a bit better. I don't understand why he would micro towards the staircase there. It would actually be better to just micro towards the center of the map.
Yeah.
Then his Stalkers could have lined up. And with 4 Stalkers, you 1-shot Marines without combat shield. I actually think that Classic derped a little bit there. One of his Stalkers obviously was very low on HP, but Stalkers move quicker and outrange Marines in these scenarios. I think a minor missed opportunity. ByuN definitely made the best of a very dire position there, but he was supply block in the midst of all of this. The 54 out of 54 went on for a little while.
That's a little bit painful as well. You can see he's down 12 workers right now, down a little bit as far as army supply. Classic very comfortably going to go ahead and take his 3rd Nexus at his natural expansion. And going into Colossus from here. Look at that funny army, by the way. Yeah. A Phoenix, 2 Stalkers, a Sentry, and 2 Immortals.
It does look a little bit derpy, but the Immortals are amazing at keeping Marauders at bay if they want to stim forward and go for a Colossus. We know that ByuN loves to go for those crazy stim forwards to gun down some of these important Protoss units, but it's really difficult if there are multiple Immortals there. And Immortals, in a weird way, not even that bad against Marines, because they're kind of tanky.
Yeah, no, the Immortal's a great unit. Honestly, I think it's underrated in this matchup. It's just a very high-quality unit to have in your army there. And I think especially against ByuN, he is kind of a Marauder-heavy player. He really does favor that unit. Some of the top Terrans do in this matchup. Now, the Phoenix is coming up, doing a little bit of scouting, a little bit of harassment, seeing what's going on. And it looks like ByuN does want to move out to pressure, but I'm not sure he's going to get very much done with this army.
Yeah, Immortals are funny because by themselves they can look really bad, but if you just sprinkle them into the mix of a bunch of other units, they become so much better. They shine themselves, and they also allow some of the other Protoss units to shine. Now, it is very important for Classic that he keeps this Phoenix count, right? 3 to 4 Phoenixes to make sure that he's not going to get dropped all over the place, because it's going to take a long time before he will ever get Blink on his Stalkers. So the only real way to keep tabs on these medevacs is with the Phoenix. You can't make any mistakes with those.
All right, here we go. Throws the force fields down, loses one of those Immortals very, very, very quickly. The Phoenix is coming back up to the front, loses a Sentry as well. Good engagements there from ByuN, definitely comes out on top.
Yep, ByuN actually loads up 2 medevacs. He's going to split those off. Wants to send those into the main. This is something that Classic absolutely needs to prevent. He does have a whole bunch of spotted pylons. ByuN still goes for it. Feels kind of crazy. There's a shield battery there as well. Maybe, oh my goodness, so fortunate. What a moment for this Colossus to pop. Shield battery overcharge gets activated as well. And as long as Classic is going to lift a couple of those Marauders in the main base, he should not lose that Colossus.
That very brave sentry, everything looking at the mines as they walk past, still trying to hold off this drop. The Phoenixes still being microed, a lot being picked off. Honestly, I feel like ByuN did all right with that drop, despite the fact there was so many units in there.
Because he did kill that Colossus,
yeah.
And there was a shield battery, Colossus, Phoenix is in location. Yeah, ByuN did about as good there as he was ever going to do. But that was important, because that was a big moment for ByuN. His bases at home are a whole lot later than these bases of Classic. He was economically behind. He needed to get something to show for that drop. And yeah, it's safe to say that he did. But to say that ByuN is cruising in this game? No, absolutely not. He's still economically behind. Upgrades are the only thing that he does a tiny advantage in, but that's not going to last forever. And on top of that, it kind of feels that ByuN has no momentum anymore, right? Classic has all the map vision and map presence with those fast Phoenixes.
Certainly, I would agree with that. Like, Classic is keeping pretty good tabs on where he's at. You can look at the minimap and see some of these pylons placed around, really great scouting locations to see ByuN trying to come in. Just amazing vision. You know, this has always been something that Classic in this matchup has been amazing at, is spreading things out, kind of canvassing the map and making sure that drops won't catch him off guard.
I know he's playing an absolutely great game. Once more, so far it is one hell of a day for Classic. Beat Raynor. And is now looking pretty good against ByuN here in game 1. Does end up losing a Phoenix there to the missile turret. Eats an EMP to the face as well. That's always kind of a scary moment, because now all these Phoenixes are low on HP. If you fly into one more random mine, you're in trouble. And I love this by ByuN. ByuN knows that he's in a bit of trouble, and he says, all right, I know your Phoenixes are low on HP. I just landed an EMP on them as well. Perhaps this is my moment where I can get a big drop going somewhere, because he needs to make some moves. He can't just let Classic roll with a double robo and double forge that's currently spinning.
Well, this is why those pylons are so good. He saw that, had to unload, eliminates it, but of course Classic is right there to answer. So ByuN can't just fly into the main base. You know, if you're a little bit slower as a Protoss player, you're not spreading these around, maybe ByuN gets in and does damage, but as of right now, look at this. He has 2 forges going. He has 2 robo disruptor coming, and now a 5th Nexus gets started. Classic is in control of this game.
Classic is absolutely cooking. He's having a fun time. Even a 3rd robo.
Oh, dude.
If Zess was watching this game, Zess would be so proud. He's like, finally, guys. We're getting a couple of extra robos, like I told you guys all along. ByuN is obviously in a pickle because it's single starport Terran. There are no tanks to really keep these long-range Protoss units at bay. There is not a great answer against Disruptors, because it's not like we have a whole bunch of Liberators. The Viking count isn't high. Like, ByuN needs to pull off some ByuN believable plays, like he's done many times in the past, and this could very well be the start, as long as he doesn't eat a big Purification Nova to the face. The fact that ByuN can even make this kind of stuff happen is marvelous, because he's not supposed to be able to even get in a position like this.
Dude, the canvassing has been so good from Classic, but he misses this army. ByuN breaks through, kills off one of the bases, and well, this other one, it looks like Classic will be able to save, but ByuN is making the right moves to catch up.
ByuN is giving himself a chance in a game that he was not even allowed to dream about bringing home anymore. Classic is still very eager to attack, but he has to realize that right now a lot of time has gone by. His army hasn't grown. ByuN's army has grown as his pylon gets found in the bottom right side. Kind of an awkward fight. He's still forward for disruptors. ByuN gets a couple of them, but a few of these Novas will go up. But Classic is losing a lot of his important units, and the reinforcements have arrived for ByuN from the left side, and ByuN takes an absolutely unbelievable fight down an upgrade, Artosis.
That is wild. That flanking force really turns around. I actually almost lost my breath there seeing him charge forward against that army, and then the Nova even gets off. Are you kidding me? And now ByuN going to the north, going after this Nexus. Is he going to be able to pick this one off as well?
You can see Classic wiggling in his chair a little bit, kind of unbelievable, perhaps in disbelief of what just happened. He's like, wait a minute, wasn't I seconds away from just moving you on your side of the map? ByuN is making a little mistake there with the Viking. Vikings, but it does allow him to take out that Nexus on the right side, picks up a whole bunch of medevacs, flies into the main base, and Disrupt is not always the greatest unit in the drop defense. A lot of these Stalkers are very exposed. We will go for battery overcharge once more, but ByuN has really stepped it up in this game, and he's making some unbelievable plays.
Well, this is why people love ByuN so much. He was behind this game. Classic definitely looked like he was in a dominating position. But look, he's killed 2 Nexuses, he's going for a 3rd, he's picking off key units. Down goes the Cybernetics Core, no more Stalkers for you. And, like, what do you do here as Classic? He's trying to finish up his Blink. You know, he's on the comeback composition, right? Blink, Stalker, Disruptor. You have some chances with that if you hit some big Novas. But how is he going to be able to do that against a ByuN that is this quick?
Yeah, ByuN is all over the place, really flexing that multitasking muscle. Classic has walked in a lot of Zealots, that should help a little bit. Few Novas fly forward. What ByuN needs to be wary of, though, is that his medevacs are low on HP, right? Stalkers can blink forward and one-shot all these medevacs. So ByuN will end up losing all of this. I felt like it was really good for a while until this part, but ByuN wouldn't be ByuN if he doesn't still grab a few Disruptors on his way out.
Well, the entire army gets clean, but another army comes right up, stimming forward. Some Zealots will slow this down, Disruptor as well, but the rest of the bio gets split off to the left side, going after that 3rd base location.
ByuN is waiting for a moment that he can stim forward one more time. The only thing is he doesn't have any Ghost anymore, I believe, right? Like, he's just relying on these super fast units. And without an EMP, okay, there are 2 Ghosts out on the map, but you kind of want to land an EMP on those Disruptors.
Yeah.
If you want to go for that crazy stim forward, you need to land an EMP. But it's unreal how ByuN has turned this game on its head, because he was not in a bit of trouble.
Well,
he was in a world of trouble.
He really was, and now he's definitely got this big tempo advantage. But I wonder if there's any chance he would think about maybe slowing this down. He's got 4 bases. If he could squeeze into like some Liberators here maybe, but no, I mean, it's ByuN. He's just going to dive on another Nexus, and this is going to turn maybe a little bit base trading.
I think that's the only way to answer that question, Artosis. It's ByuN. Other Terran players, perhaps they would slow this down. They're like, hey, I've done amazing. Now it's up to my opponent, but ByuN does not slow things down. A couple of Novas do fly forward, but this Protoss army is disappearing. A couple of Stalkers is simply not enough. These Disruptors are once more exposed, and ByuN knows it. He wants to chase them down. There are Novas flying in the center of the map, because Classic knows that this game has slipped away. What a crazy comeback by ByuN here in game 1.
That was pretty well done, man. Classic, I don't know what he just went up. It's like he's fixing something. He's like, something's wrong here. How did I possibly lose that game? Really got into an amazing position there against ByuN, and ByuN just fought back exactly the way that he fights back.
Yeah, that was kind of like the equivalent of when a tennis player has a very easy open shot and he misses.
Yeah.
And then he looks at his racket. He's like, that wasn't me. That was the racket. That's kind of what Classic went through there. But what a move by ByuN to just move out with that entire army through the center of the map. Classic had vision everywhere. The only thing that Classic didn't account for is ByuN to take down those rocks, go through the rocks, get on top of the Nexus, and that was the beginning of an absolutely magical comeback.
It's true. It's true. He's got no one to thank but Dustin Browder on that one, man. Clearing those rocks to get the Nexus snipe. That is what got him back into it. Like 100%. Classic, before that moment, Classic was really feeling it. So ByuN, I don't know, he's being taken away for some reason. Maybe a quick bathroom break or something. But yeah, the Hellions, that was a very good moment too. I do have to be a little bit critical of Classic for even putting that Nexus down there, because I mean, you knew it, I knew it, ByuN knew it, and I think a lot of people watching knew it, that was going to be hard to defend against Hellions.
At that point, though, the game looked so bad. This was obviously a game-deciding fight in the bottom right side, where ByuN looked at an army, he sized it up, and he said, you know what, you've been chasing me with the same army for quite some time. I actually believe I can get an all-right fight here. Landed a few big EMPs on those key Protoss units. The Immortals got tagged, the Disruptors got tagged, and then the reinforcements arriving from the left side. What a fight by ByuN. Just an amazing army movement. And it all started with taking down some rocks. It's amazing, man. ByuN and Royal Blood against Protoss, something magical about it. He has epic comebacks on this map over and over again.
Yeah, well, I mean, he gets his army moving around so quickly. Like, isn't that the shortest rush distance amongst the maps?
Royal Blood?
Yeah.
It's probably up there, but it still feels like a big map, right? There's a lot of area to move, at least on the side of the map.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that helps ByuN as well. The thing is, with ByuN's skill set, I feel like anything that's not gigantic, you're going to feel pretty good. I actually think Gresvan is the second map, isn't it? That would be a Classic pick for sure.
we're gonna go ahead and take a look at it. Yeah, amazing first series, or at least first game of this last series of the day. It's been a long one. We've seen some stunning performances today from various players. Solar definitely standing out with those 2 big victories over the Terran players. Sero having a good day, but for Sero standards, perhaps a little more bumpy and bruisey than he would like to see it. And Classic having, well, up to 2 minutes before the end of that game, an absolutely amazing day. He's probably kicking himself a little bit for letting that one slip away. ByuN, we know that he beat the Laser earlier. That's a long time ago. Didn't really know how that went. I do believe that it was a relatively convincing victory from what I saw of it.
Well, you know, Classic, taking down Raynor, like that's a very big first victory for you. And like I've been talking about, and you've been talking about, like ByuN is in such good shape. If he takes him down as well, and it's doable. Like, don't forget, he was ahead. He did kind of outdo ByuN despite losing those 6 probes early on. Like he got himself into a good position. It was like that one little moment where the rocks broke, and then his army got flanked later on. And it's like, well, what are you going to do from there? That's a tough one. ByuN really clawed that one back, but Classic still could end up taking this down. And honestly, if he keeps playing to this level, because I'm still impressed with that game.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
I'm impressed with the Raynor series. I'm impressed with that game. Like, you can play games and lose. I can be like, wow, you played really, really well. And that's one of those games. So if Classic keeps this up, this could be the return of Protoss this tournament, honestly. Like, I know we've had like kind of a drought of Protosses doing really well, but Creator looks great. Hero looks great. Classic looks great.
Hero in that second game for a while when he was up 1-0 in the series. And I really do think that Hero pretty much had that one. But yeah, you're spot on then. I kind of felt the Classic played a perfect game until ByuN set up the trap. He sneaks it through the center of the map. Classic clearly not happy about losing that Nexus. Loses another one. He chases and he chases and he chases. And before you know it, you're actually not the one who should do the chasing. And you walk straight into a trap. You walked into a spot where you shouldn't have been. It was a 10 out of 10 play by ByuN, but up to that point, Classic once more just looked damn good. The only thing I'm a bit worried about that then is like, you know, you've been a competitor as well, you know it. These guys, as amazing as they are, they're still humans. And it's been a very long day for Classic. And then you feel like you're basically on the verge of taking the 1-0 lead, and it slips away. It's really tough to still be as sharp in that second game now after such a long day of StarCraft, and obviously a lot of stress.
Yeah, well, we're going to see if he can do it against this guy leading 1-0, a former world champion. It is ByuN.
And in the bottom right side of Grasban, we are looking at the main base of one of those Protosses that has looked impressive so far. Representing his new org, Twisted Minds, this is Classic.
You know, definitely a part of that loss was that you know, walking down across the map, getting flanked. That one engagement where it looked bad for ByuN, and then ByuN flanked and ended up taking it down. You know, I feel like this is a thing in Protoss vs. Terran. Like, many Protoss losses are because you're actually out there when you should not be. You know, like, you really do have to be careful with when you're going to attack Terran, because the Protoss army, like with Colossi and things like that, doesn't actually retreat well. No. So, like, if you take a bad engage, everything's gone.
And I think Classic obviously knows that, right? And Classic obviously knew that he shouldn't have chased that much, but I think he was just a little bit tilted where he's like, oh, come on, man. This game is going perfect. I've got vision everywhere. Somehow you strike at that one little spot where I didn't have vision. You lose a base you're not supposed to lose. And then you just get a little bit frustrated. You're like, all right, I'm going to make you pay for it. And before you know it, that is actually your downfall. But outside of that, still played an amazing game, as we'll keep an eye on what Classic is going to bring here in Game 2. ByuN did not go for any sort of an eBay block. We actually have a Reaper into CC of 1 gas initially, but he's going to drop the CC on the high ground, so it's very safe. I don't think it's completely necessary, but ByuN apparently seems to think that it is necessary.
Well, if you remember some of Classic's older games, like when he had a really dominating PBT streak, I remember there was one year where he was at like 97% wins until Maru decided to win 4 GSLs in a row, starting off against Classic, if I'm remembering this correctly. But it was very heavily based off of his early game micro, like Adept, Stalker, Pressure, you know, sometimes 3 gates before getting any tech, things like that. So maybe he's avoiding this area in which Classic is very strong.
You know what's fun as well about watching professional StarCraft is that Classic early today had 10 out of 10 micro against Reigner when he controlled 2 different armies and kept all of his High Templars safe. But then in that previous game, we saw him derp a little bit with 4 Stalkers against Marines that don't have stim or a bunker. And I'm like, how do we mess that up? How do we do this correct? But we kind of managed to mess that one up a little bit. That was also a small mistake, by the way, on the side of ByuN. He lost that Reaper a little too easily. And I don't think he really got to see a whole lot with that Reaper.
No, he didn't really get much. I mean, he knows that it was a command center. I mean, he didn't actually get to go up into the main base at all, right? There's a Twilight right up the ramp as well.
Now, those are things that the Reaper are just supposed to scout. Because now ByuN, we know it's not a Stargate, but ByuN mentally still has to be wary of the fact that an Oracle could fly in. And if it is Blink, he would love to know, like, do I have any indications of how many gateways will go down? Actually, he's opening up with a medevac here, a couple of Hellions as well. It's a bit of everything, right? Maybe we're going to go for a triple Hellion drop. Has a lot of potential if Classic doesn't see it, but it also makes you very vulnerable at home against Blink Stalker aggression.
Yeah, 3-gate Robo Blink is going to be a pretty strong follow-up counterattack here from Classic. We'll see what actually gets done, though. The second Adept comes in. Very nice micro right there.
Yeah, ByuN is actually going to struggle here a little bit. He's forced to reveal his Hellions, because without the Hellions, he was simply not going to clean this up the moment the Stalker would sync up. Now the Hellions are going to chase down the Stalker, but as dire as that may look for Classic, it's actually nice, because now he can start mentally preparing for Hellions that are heading his way.
Well, he knows exactly what's going on now. Like, you see the Hellion count, you see the medevac, you see the Marines. You basically know where all the money's been spent. And the fact that he's gone 3-gate Blink Robo, I feel like that's, when you know that this is coming, this is a perfect counter.
Yep, we don't have a single shield battery though. Shield battery currently has been warped in, but I'm not sure if that's going to finish up in time. Hellions are taking a little look in the natural. Medevac is heading towards that main base. Blink is 85-90% done. It's important for ByuN to keep in mind that Blink is probably going to be a little bit quicker than what it would normally be because of that skirmish they had on his side of the map, where the Medevac had to stay at home a bit longer than it would have loved to be.
Well, the medevac actually turns around for now. Yeah, I think that's a very good read, actually. A lot of Terrans would dive in there and be like, no, this is what we're doing. We got to get some damage. It looks like he'll take those Hellions that are not going to scale at all, pop them in and see what's what. But he should be able to get away with the medevac, which is the important thing, I think, here.
Yeah, Blink is done,
maybe not.
So ByuN, you really don't want to go in there. But this is actually kind of cool by ByuN, because ByuN is not making those rookie mistakes that we're worried about. But now he, gets to keep these Stalkers at home, so the Stalkers are not gathering any information or map presence. They're not getting any freebies on the other side of the map. And ByuN is just like, cool. Now I know that your units are here. What he doesn't know, though, is that the follow-up is the Templar Archives and Storm, which I personally think is a very cool one in this specific scenario.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, right? Because a lot of times with a build like this, you do want to grab a prism, go across the map, put a little pressure on your opponent, keep them in their base. But Classic is sitting here playing a more defensive style. That Psystorm is actually going to surprise ByuN most likely. That's for the current metagame, that's a very, very, very fast Psystorm.
Yep.
Like, Robo is much more...
sometimes, right? But
yeah.
It's kind of about the only one, I feel like, at this level.
Dude, since Trap went to the military, this has really fallen out of style. He was like the one guy that really liked this. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is going to catch him off guard a little bit. And I love the army that's being made here from Classic as well. Charge, Immortal, Blink Stalker, High Templar. That is a ground-pounding force on 3 bases.
Classic just knows, I'm going to go up to 3 bases way before you. You're going to attack me. I'm not going to invest in a forge right now, because that all takes a little while before that kicks in. I want units, and I want to be able to land a couple of big storms. One spotting Stalker on the other side of the map, as ByuN, by the way, is going to build a 3rd CC on location. I think he can get away with it, but this can also really come back to bite you in the butt if a couple of Zealots keep showing up and keep picking up that SCV that's trying to complete that CC. But so far, looking at the minimap, I don't think ByuN has to worry about it. It's a 20 army supply advantage on the side of ByuN, who did drop a great scan, but it's still going to be hard to break Classic here.
It's a little bit of a greedy build from Classic in some ways. He comes down. He does have a couple of Storms and Immortal here as well. The tank, well, one goes down, but does get some volleys there. And all I think Classic needs to do is slow this down a bit.
Yeah. Well, I actually think that ByuN needs to make sure that he doesn't lose track of that prism, because imagine if suddenly 7 Zealots get warped in on the other side of the map while he's eating a storm on Classic side of the map, then ByuN could seriously be in some trouble. I think if ByuN just keeps on clicking on these Protoss units and he's like, wait a minute, like, you're not getting any upgrades. I don't see a Robo Bay. I don't see extra gases or a fourth base. Like, ByuN is going to be aggressive right now because he is ByuN. But perhaps the better play would have actually been for ByuN right now to go home and let Classic attack him.
Yeah, it could be, actually. You do have to be a little bit careful. I think that Classic is one of the better Protosses at attacking into a Turtle Terran. But right now, he is going to go ahead, and he looks like ByuN did lose track of that Prism a little bit. 4 Charge Lots get warped in, but at the same time, 3 Medevacs dropping in the main base. High Templars waiting, though, massive storms.
Yeah, that's a lot of Marines falling, and it's mostly Marines. Feedbacks, since when do feedbacks still kill something ever, Artelsis? That's the first time we see that in 2023, but, well, that triple drop got denied. Kudos to ByuN, though he didn't take too much damage at home from those Zealots. But if I was ByuN right now, I would really throw up a bunker or two, because you can click on these units, see that there are still no upgrades. Classic is going to try to make some magic here, and it's going to be difficult for ByuN to weather this storm, literally and figuratively, because we do have High Templars. As another Medevac flies over the Protoss army in the center, and things are starting to fall apart a little bit for ByuN.
Oh, man. Yeah, this attack coming up onto this third base location before the orbital's even done is going to force an orbital cancel, plus a liftoff, some storms going down. No real focusing, so it doesn't look like he'll get the command center or anything, but that is a scary army with 3 Immortals in it.
Yeah, Classic, I highly doubt that he's done, but he actually looks at it and he's like, you know what, I'm happy with what I got so far. I'm a little bit surprised by that. Does not want to run into the 2-base setup of ByuN there, but ByuN did not have any bunkers. The only thing that ByuN really had going for himself there defensively were the tanks right around the edge, right? Those tanks would have been hard to get maybe on top of. Or it was bait, but Classic is like, I went home. Just kidding, I didn't.
Yeah, no, I was actually confused when I saw that he was going home, but turns around, gets a decent storm off right there, charges in one time, backing up. Now we're going to have a few EMPs that can go off here. But Classic, is he going to back all the way up once again? It's such a funny game. Like, so many times they both moved forward for attacks, done just a little tiny bit, and walked home. I feel like this is like one of those old school breakdance battles where like you go up and you do something really cool, but then you're respectful and your opponent do something really cool to you.
That's what it is, I think. There's just so much respect between these two. They know how good they can be defensively. And Classic probably thought, like, I want to, but at the same time, I'm investing in the 4th Nexus.
Yeah.
I'm investing in 2 Robos that are about to come online and that Robo Bay. Do I really have to? Is there a chance I get the job done? Maybe. But it goes against your nature. When you spend all that money on stuff that comes into play a couple minutes from now, you don't want to throw it at your opponent with the risk of losing all your momentum and just getting wiped out.
Well, especially against ByuN, right? Like, his control is next level. If he takes the right concave, if he eliminates that army, and you're waiting for the 4th to kick in and the upgrades to finish, you're not going to hold off his counterattack with Stalkers and Zealots you're warping in at the moment. So I think it's an excellent play here from Classic. The 4th base is up. The 5th base gets started. 2 Colossi at a time, 2 Forges going. This alone is going to put a lot of pressure on ByuN.
Yep, a 3rd Robo again, by the way,
Dude,
very early on. I love it, man. And Zest would absolutely approve of this. For the longest time, it's like, no, you cannot do it. It's not optimal. And now the chat prototypes are showing up. They're like, no, we can absolutely go triple Robo. We've got a decent economy. And we feel like the Robo units are going to do better than the Gateway units. Classic is close to maxing out with Robo units. And don't forget about all these High Templars. The only thing I don't like, though, is to see all these High Templars that close to each other. Because if someone is capable of landing a great EMP, it has to be our man ByuN.
That is very true. I wouldn't mind him having a Prism there too with some High Templars in it. Like, honestly, even keeping a couple like back behind his army as he moves forward, I really like moves like that, so you can surprise a chasing Terran, that type of thing. We'll see if that ends up happening to him, but with the triple Robo, the fact that he's still at... Wait, is that can't be a 4th Robo?
It's a 4th Robo.
No, Roddy.
Yes,
no,
it is.
no.
He's going quad Robo.
4 Robo.
Yes.
4 Robo.
I love it.
Is this a money map? What is going on right now? 4 robotics?
Yes. I love it. I'm a big fan.
Like, I mean, robotics units are kind of big. They're going to be bumping into each other. It's going to be like so many disruptors. When you shoot the back one, it doesn't even get beyond the disruptors, you know? Like, This is crazy.
Oh, ByuN has to be careful because that army of Classic is here. It's not just a couple of Zealots. That was almost a distraction maneuver. And we cannot forget about all these High Templars. A single High Templar is leading the charge, trying to land a big storm. Lands a great storm on a lot of these Marauders. And that obviously means that his army of ByuN is being softened up a little bit. ByuN does not want to be alienated from his own 4th base. Because if Classic gets on top of it, you can't run into a Protoss army with all those Colossus and High Templar.
Yeah, you know what ByuN has to do right now is switch into Liberators. Like, he is not going to live through this. I like the tank setup, I like the mine setup and everything, but I really do feel like he is going to have to go in a different direction than what he's doing at the moment. Now some storms going off. ByuN eats a little bit of it, does back up. We have that speed prism as well, dropping the storms out. That is a great armor shred though, and ByuN chasing down Classic, but with the disruptors, he should be able to push him back.
I actually think Classic could have turned around and fought at one point, but he doesn't. He's going to force ByuN to stim over and over again. The Vikings are very exposed, but they have taken care of the majority of the Robo units. But the good news for Classic is that he's got 4 Robos. So
that's true, yeah.
It is actually kind of cool because now in a weird way Protoss becomes Zerg, right? Where it's like, it's all Colossus. Just kidding, it's Immortals and Disruptors. It's back into Colossus with a 5th Robo on
A 5th Robo? He better salvage some of these gateways. He's not going to have any money for this. This is maybe the craziest thing I've ever seen. 5 Robos. Okay, Classic is the greatest Protoss of all time, okay? Sorry to MC if you're sitting here watching right now, but Classic just passed you, bro. This is insanity. 5 robotics. He is going to have, like, whatever army he wants. I don't even know what it's going to be. Like, you can't just have 20 disruptors, right?
No, absolutely. Oh, this is a lot of medevacs, by the way, sticking into the main base of Classic, who's got a whole bunch of Zealots on the outside of the map. I do believe that the EMP on the Nexus was a little bit too late. We go for a recon. ByuN forward. He thinks he can get all of them. Well, he gets the first 2, but the 3rd Nova did go off. Stalkers do trade very poorly, though, in these situations in Classic. I wouldn't hate it if you walked in a few Zealots here to help out defend this drop a little bit.
I think he might be in shock that like almost all the disruptors died there. ByuN with the most unreal control. Another big warp in here. He will finally be able to clean this up, it looks like. Should be able to target down.
ByuN?
Well, yeah, ByuN. I think ByuN looked then and said, yeah, that stuff's all bad. Okay, let's go do something else.
There's a lot happening. Vikings are going to land on top of a Nexus. You know, it wasn't just all the Robos. The man just had 3 Nexi on his production tab. Like, that's also pretty wild in a 15-minute game to see 3 Nexi being built at once.
Well, honestly, those are the best things against Terran. Nexuses and Robos. So he's really going for it right now. Pushing forward here once again. Really funny-looking armies from ByuN.
That was a medevac with 4 ghosts inside of it, Artosis, that just got picked up. And these Vikings are not going to be great in evacuating. ByuN has just lost a tremendous amount of resources, and he didn't really get a whole lot done there. That was ultra expensive on the side of ByuN.
Roddy, tell me, is there any way against 5 Robo that you are going to do this without Liberators? Like, really?
Probably not. Probably not. Nice EP though from the high ground. The tank positioning by ByuN here on Gresswell. We know that this entire map, like you think of Babylon and Gresswell as well, has a lot of great tank spots, but we don't often get to see it in this matchup. But ByuN with those good tanks earlier stayed alive and now actually keeps their 3rd base safe by just having them in the correct position.
Well, ByuN right now is finally getting into some Liberators. Love to see it. If he gets up to like 8, 12 Liberators, that is certainly going to make the Robo units a lot weaker in that situation. Still, a lot of Disruptors are being added. Tries to shoot these out. ByuN trying to target down everything. Finally, a big Disruptor shot there. ByuN is going to kite back now.
That was actually pretty good for ByuN. Obviously, in the end, he did eat a big Nova to the face, but he kind of resets the Disruptor count. ByuN is on double starport. I saw a Fusion Core, but I'm not sure if we ever got the Advanced Ballistics upgrade.
Oh, I'm not sure, actually.
Can we take a look at that, one of our lovely observers? No,
yeah, we don't have it. You're right.
We do have a Fusion Core, and he also has already +1 on the ship weapons, so
he's
that's very
need
useful.
+2 there.
But yeah, you do absolutely want Advanced Ballistics and +2, one of the best late-game combinations for the Terran army.
Definitely helps out with killing those Stalkers like immediately at that point. And then we might have to see Classic add in 3 Stargate Tempest just on top of it, right? Like, just get absolutely everything. Now look at this, he is adding in some Immortals here to go with his mass disruptors he's been making, still upgrading here as well. The disruptors having a hard time connecting as he goes after this planetary.
Yep, I wouldn't have hated if he just kept going for the planetary.
Yeah.
As long as you keep firing Novas, ByuN cannot stim into that army, but Classic perhaps showing a little too much respect there, perhaps scared as well because the first few Liberators did start to show up, and I hope that ByuN, right after he sees up those lips there, immediately realized that I do not have advanced ballistics.
Dude, the game is so crazy. He might not notice, right? Like, he's moving so fast right now that I could see that being like the big mistake for ByuN in this game. Now, blink forward there, he picks them off, gets some sick disruptors coming out here, blowing up Marauders, but ByuN will push him back off of this planetary once again.
And gets a kill on that Nexus. That was not a cancel there. And Classic, even though he feels very rich, doesn't have a whole lot of money in the bank. These two Zealots are having a field day as the Liberators are sleeping on the job. They did not move. Look at these boys go, Artosis.
Oh, man. 29, 30 SCVs going down. Of course, not all at this base. The Disruptors were getting some as well. ByuN still trying to target down as much as he can, but now ByuN's supply has fallen significantly. He was maxed out moments ago.
Yep, he has 100 army supply left. Classic is going to make it up a ramp, run into multiple of these Liberators. The tanks have finally fallen. Classic does still need to respect his army a little bit because there's a lot of army supply left. He's looking to land a few more big Novas. The micro by ByuN is absolutely fantastic, but I don't know if ByuN can really chase that army though. It's so difficult to chase a Protoss army with this many Disruptors. I told you, man, these games that we have watched on the very first day here over at Gamers8 in Riyadh, they really have been something special. It just feels like it's a high-stakes tournament.
Yeah, this is, I think, right now my favorite game of the tournament so far. This is unbelievable. Better than some of the PVZs we had today. Look at that, 15 Disruptors have already fallen. I love how he just refills them instantly. He's like, oh, you killed 4 Disruptors? That's fine, I'll make 4 more. And I mean, Classic just really taking a different approach to this than we ever see anyone take.
A couple of Dark Templars have shown up. Take out that missile turret. Oh, no, in the center of that army, and that could very well be the beginning of the end here for ByuN, who was already in a bit of trouble, was down in army supplies, down economically, and he just cannot afford to lose that many units at once and get nothing in return.
Well, Classic going to back up for a moment. He's going to remake his Nexus. ByuN, his economy's still a bit weak. He's less than half the workers of Classic at the moment. Oh. Dropping a lot of mules. So, yeah, his income's going to be pretty good for a moment. But really, he needs to rebuild that economy if he's going to win because there's no quick victory here.
And it doesn't seem like he has a whole lot of gas income, right? Double arrow advantage on the side of Classic means Classic is mining a lot more gas than ByuN. And if ByuN ever wants to really get to the late game, get +2 ship weapons, get +3 armor for the buy units, and get advanced ballistics, he simply needs more gas income. But he probably feels that he simply does not have the time for that. And Classic is going to be like, that's right, you don't have the time for it because I will keep on attacking you. And you need to spend every single penny that you can get your hands on battle units right here, right now.
Just some awesome play here from Classic. Comes up, punches through that command center so quickly. Oh, yeah, that's, I mean, it was already going that way, but now ByuN dropping some extra units right there. His supply still extremely low. He has a good army still, so I think he is going to fight until he loses it.
Well, we're going to run into a lot of Disruptors. This can't possibly end well for ByuN. I think ByuN knows that too. Is still doing a great job. The micro really has been stunning on the side of ByuN, but it's an unfair fight. He is not just fighting an uphill battle. He is doing all those cliches at once and then some. It's just not a fair fight anymore.
No, that was rough. He actually did better than he really even ever should have there with how many Disruptors were shooting. Oh, that would be sick. But the double prism coming in. It looks like Classic is really trying to finish ByuN off now. Just throwing even a few units in the main base is going to really stretch ByuN thin.
Yeah, but ByuN is sending the majority of his forces towards the top right side. There is that double kill on the prism, by the way. What Classic should not do is chase this army around forever, because that's one way that maybe ByuN can get a big army out one more time. ByuN has taken out a serious amount of main bases. This base doesn't really matter because there really are not that many resources left. Classic at this point says, all right, the Marauders are giving me issues. Well, I've got an answer for that. 4 Immortals at once.
4? Why does he make 6? Oh, yeah, because he's maxed out. Oops. Still getting another Plasma Shield upgrade here as well. Almost completely max upgrades to add to everything else that he has going on. That army continues to become scarier and scarier. That is the thing of Terran nightmares.
ByuN really has been battling like an absolute hero in this game, but it does feel that these are the closing moments of the second game on Grassband. Classic got himself in a great spot in game 1, but he let it slip away. This time around, I just don't see a way. ByuN simply doesn't have the army. One more Nova goes up in the heart of these Terran forces, and then this should absolutely be it. These Immortals with the 3-3 upgrades, couple of Stalkers, and all that's left for ByuN is a few Marines and one last Marauder. He's still microing.
Yeah.
And Classic is, I mean, come on, this is disrespect for Artosis.
Well, that's going to be a GG. ByuN finally taps it out, makes Classic truly work for you. You can see Classic shaking his wrist right there. It was an intense game.
It really was, and it felt at the beginning was super interesting because it was like, who's attacking who and who should be attacking who.
Yeah.
Like, we've got all the information. These guys, of course, they don't. And I still think it was a big mistake for ByuN to go for that triple drop into the main base. Now, did it have potential? Absolutely. But it felt that Classic read him like a book. He had the shield battery there. He had the 2 High Templars there that were loaded up on energy. They landed big storms, and that is what allowed Classic to then counterattack immediately and force ByuN to lift up his CC. And it felt that after that point, we were battling non-stop.
Yeah.
It was always in advantage of Classic.
Yeah, he kept an advantage for a really long time at that point. You know, one thing I have to say, because no one else plays this quite like Classic. There's that drop you were talking about, by the way. But the thing that really kind of blows me away about this game, the 6 Robos, because if Terran takes one good engagement against you, sometimes they can run away with the game, even late game when you have a lot, because you can't refill your Robo units. Here, that's never an issue. 6 disruptors is enough with your gateway units to hold Terran off.
Yep, and Classic could have been in trouble, right? Because that one fight in the center of the map, it really did not go all that well, but because he had so many robots, he always had a few more disruptors showing up, and as a Terran, you simply cannot chase Protoss forces forever, because every time you stim, your army gets weaker, and if you then have to disengage over and over again, because there are Purification Novas flying towards your army, then you simply have to stop at one point. So it was an amazing game by Classic, who has just played a stunning day of StarCraft, showed up in such a big way in the very beginning with his victory over Raynor. And honestly, this should have been a 2-0 at this point, Artosis.
Yeah, maybe it should have. One thing I do have to say for ByuN, and we talked about it some during the game as well, I do think if your opponent's going to go this robo-heavy, you have to invest in +2 air attacks and Liberator range. So we'll see if he's able to do it this time. In the bottom left with an amazing strategy in the last game, it is Classic.
Both of these players, of course, 1-0 in our Swiss format, and that means that they are 2 series away from making it into the playoffs. In the top right side, for the last time today, we've had an absolutely amazing day over here at Gamers8 in Riyadh, and we hope that you guys enjoyed it as well. This is the Shopify Rebellions ByuN. A long but fun day, Artie McDonald.
Yeah, what a series to end it on as well. These are some fun TVPs going down. We're on Ancient Cistern. Any thoughts about the map for the matchup, Roddy?
It's a great map, man. It just allows both races to shine. We've seen a lot of epic matches already in TVP high level, whether it's between the European players or the Korean players. This map just creates a lot of great games because it's a very macro-oriented, relatively standard map. So often you have both players doing their build, they both find a bit of success, and then we take it from there. And it just leads into these slugfest games that everybody enjoys.
Yeah, and I think especially right now in TVP, I think I've been saying it for almost a year now. I do feel like this is the best matchup right now in StarCraft 2. It just gives, there's such a variety of openers on both sides. There's actually a really large variety of compositions you can really go. You can go like Marine heavy, Tank heavy, Marauder heavy, Liberator heavy. It's kind of up to you. And then on the Protoss side, of course, just as many choices.
You know what we haven't seen though yet?
Yeah.
That is the Reaper expand into 3 Rex. I'm a big fan, Artos.
Well, ByuN is a big fan of that too, Roddy, so you might end up seeing it. That is absolutely a possibility. In fact, that has actually been a build that he has liked so much, it has sometimes been to his own detriment.
Yeah, absolutely, because you can't blind counter it, of course.
Yeah.
And if Protoss players really expected it could happen. Yeah, we haven't seen it yet. There is that reactor, though, so we're going to keep a close eye on what else ByuN drops in the main base, because this could very well be the moment he is going to bust it out. We're still on single refinery. There was one last thing. You know what makes this a great matchup as well, or how you know that this is a great matchup? If even the pro players do not unanimously agree on this is the way to open or that is the way to open, right?
Yeah.
You have so many world-class players that all believe in completely different openings, and that's when you know you're looking at a great matchup.
That's very true. Whereas in PvZ, there's one matchup, there's one opener to rule them all, you know. But right now, the Reaper comes over. It is a triple command center here from ByuN, so he is going very economy heavy, and hopefully this time his Reaper does a bit better than the last game.
I don't hate it with the way that Classic opened in that previous game, because if we just go back to Graspon, Artosis, it's Adept, Stalker. What's going to get into the main base? If ByuN is paying attention, nothing gets into the main base. So if Classic plays a relatively defensive Blink style, this is actually a great build order chose by ByuN, because Classic is not investing in a Stargate, will not get any eyes in that main base, and he doesn't even build a sentry for a hallucinated Phoenix or an Oracle.
Yeah, it's a very good point. And it does look like he's going to go down that route again, adding a second gateway. We'll see if he goes for the 3. There it is. It's actually a very important block right there. I wonder if he would have canceled if it went through. I think he would have let it go.
Yeah, no, I think he would absolutely let it go, and that's something that ByuN can simply not allow to happen. Because at this point, Classic, he's afraid to drop that third Nexus and just chrono boost the Nexus over and over again for extra workers. If Classic would have the information that we have as neutral observers, he'd be like, oh, I don't need this robo before I drop a Nexus. I can spend all the chrono on probes because I know you're not going to attack me with Marines without stim. The fact that ByuN, by the way, is doing this without a bunker in the natural, I do think is a little bit crazy. But you know what? Perhaps he's trying to sell something, and I do think it's absolutely working. He's building a shield battery, Artosis.
Oh my God, you're right about that. That actually could have to do with no bunker being there, right? Like you're trying to show them that you're absolutely not afraid. ByuN has really pushed this build to the max, to be honest, and getting in there, seeing the robo, seeing the shield battery, I just got chills, because you know ByuN saw those two buildings. He's like, oh yeah, it is working out.
No, this is 200 IQ big brain gaming by ByuN, and Classic is getting played like a fiddle. That does not mean that the game is over. Just the build order-wise are absolutely in favor of ByuN. And poor Classic, with the way that he plays, this just takes so damn long. Like at this point, I'm sure that the Spidey senses are tingling a little bit. He's like, wait a minute, like if you're 3-rexing me, right? Let's say that's what's happening. Like, why is this so easy? Like, why am I not on the verge of dying and I need a great overcharge to make sure that I stay alive, or a Guardian Shield? Like, wait a minute. But now he drops that third Nexus. Meanwhile, ByuN is already enjoying 3 meals at a time. This really was a very smart game by ByuN so far.
Like, I'm so impressed with it. And Classic even got like the 4 gas and the Colossus deck before taking that third Nexus. Like he's playing very safe. He doesn't want to just die to ByuN suddenly. And now he gets up there, and now he knows. Like, I mean, his face didn't really change. Like, when I see them about to find out something like that, I always look, but...
I think he knew the moment where he's like, wait a minute, I just built a battery and you're still not on my side of the map. Absolutely nothing is happening here. Like, if you were attacking me, if it was any sort of a drop, it would have happened 30 seconds ago. If it was a 3-Rex, 3 Marauders and 19 Marines would be showing up in my natural right now. And if that's not happening, at that point, Classic knew. But yeah, that's late, Artosis. This is like minute 5 by the time he figured it out.
Yeah. So very rough here for Classic. But again, you know, this is not game ending. ByuN has an advantage, but the strategy that Classic has gone for, this is probably the most robust opener that you have as Protoss in this matchup right now. You know, you have all these gates with Blink Stalkers, you're getting into Colossi, you have 3 base, and that's a rock solid defense.
Yep, but he is going to just be outnumbered for a while. By the time that this 3-base economy of ByuN fully kicks in, he is going to have a very hefty army supply lead. Like, we're talking 30, 40 supply in the near future, and then it's going to be incredibly difficult for Classic to position his units correctly. If Classic keeps track of this army, and losing an observer does not help, because unlike that last game, we don't have 5 robos. Classic loses the observer. He's like, oh, I should better get a second one because I need Colossus, I need Immortals, but I also need those observers. Otherwise, he's simply gonna fall apart to drops.
And the 4th Nexus coming out. Yeah, I was about to praise him for adding the second robo, but no 4th Nexus, and he does both. And I'm like, oh, can you afford this? He's got like. He has 8 gates, I think, and now 2 robos, and going for a 4th Nexus. It doesn't feel like this is a build that should work.
You're 34 supply down, at least in army, and you're 30 supply down overall. ByuN takes a look at it, like walking into the Colossus and force fields, that's still going to be difficult for ByuN, no matter how big the army supply advantage is. But all that ByuN looks for right now is one opening in the defenses of Classic. If he's able to sneak in this...
Did you see that?
He caught a glimpse of it, for sure. Yes, he did see it.
That is a big moment for Classic.
Yeah, but ByuN is also a world-class player, so he knows that he knows, so he's going to unload, and now he can actually perhaps punish some of these stalkers here of Classic. Don't forget about the main army. Now there's a 35 army supply lead for ByuN. This is where Classic is going to have to pull off a phenomenal hold. It's going to be so hard, but so far perhaps so good for Classic.
I tell you, that was a good warp in the main base. Gets rid of both of the medevacs, brings his Colossi up to help out. ByuN's secondary attack could have hit during this time. He stims it in, but it is a little bit slow. The Colossi now can come back to help out against this as well.
Great job gunning down that battery, by the way. Otherwise, this could have been a very bad fight for ByuN, but ByuN knows that. But so far, so good for Classic. What was once upon a time a 30 army supply deficit is now only 20. And ByuN is actually turning around. He's going to try to take care of this war prism on his side of the map. Great job with those warp ins and keeping tabs of that double drop. ByuN hunting down this prism is a few shots short.
Yeah, that will be able to just barely go away. Looks like the Vikings are going to chase that to the ends of the earth. We have that fourth Nexus up and going. Double Disruptor at a time. Double Forge is going. Classic, I think, is going to stabilize here, Roddy. When he gets out these 2 Disruptors, then 2 more, that's right when I'm like, ooh, you're not going to break that very easily.
I think a whole bunch of probes are following each other in the 4th base of Classic.
Are they?
Yeah, maybe he fixed it by now.
Oh, man.
It's a kind of painful. At the same time, ByuN feels there is an opening here. He wants to get on top of this Protoss army. Gets a first Colossus. It costs him an arm and a leg, though. But the Marauder count is still so damn high. And Stalkers by themselves, they simply cannot stand there. And great, another Colossus on the verge of dying. Battery Overcharge is doing whatever the hell it can. But that Colossus will fall, too. The supplies are closed, but Classic is left with mostly gateway units.
Oh, man. Like, that retreat was so amazing. The overcharge as well. The charge lots getting on top of those tanks, taking them out. A Prism going for a little bit of harassment. But, of course, units here to catch it. Only a couple Zealots go in. And what is Classic doing? What is he doing going across the map? You can't go across the map right now.
Great defense again by Classic, though. Amazing job running that Colossus back, keeping all of them alive for as long as possible, and even creating some chaos on the other side of the map. And those few Zealots that the Born Prism did manage to warp in, that actually accomplished more than the entire army of ByuN. And Classic is like, cool, that means I can get another Robo. Double Forge is doing its thing. I think for the first time in this game, we can safely say that it's actually starting to look pretty damn good for Classic at this point.
I tell you, that 4th Nexus, we both disagreed with it, but the fact that his Prism saw the 2 medevacs coming in the side and then he countered that all so well, ByuN was a little bit slow with the double-pronged attack. Classic was able to hold that. You know, that next push came up that was pretty strong, but the warping of charge lots surrounded the tanks. It's like Classic had exactly enough at every point. And now look at this. He's like, all right, a couple Nexuses. How many Robos do I have? Only 2? Oh my God, let's go for a 3rd. A Dark Shrine. You know, let's get everything.
I'm smiling because you're smiling, RD McToasters. We're just watching a great series here between these two that obviously have been here for a long time. A 10+ hour day for these guys, but they are still playing some absolutely amazing StarCraft. And it's always fun, but it's hard to call, right? Where it's like, is it done? Is it Classic? It might still be ByuN, and it's definitely looking like it's going to be Classic at this point. But ByuN already made an amazing comeback in Game 1. That would have been a whole lot, or that is a whole lot bigger than this comeback would be. So we cannot count him out, but ByuN does need to start finding some victories.
Ooh. All right, well, does try a little engagement there. And yeah, do not be counting out ByuN right now, okay? ByuN has not taken critical damage. See that SCV count? All right, he's got 76 SCVs. Oh God, 2 more Robos. Like, Classic is, this is so funny. I will bet you, Roddy, this is going to become standard in macro PVTs. He's on the right track.
Oh, absolutely. I love it. Like, why do we need to go up to 28 gateways, but we stay at 2 Robos? Like, Robo units are better. And Classic is like, Robo units are better. Why would I ever try to put myself in a position where if I lose the Disruptors, I can only rebuild 2 at a time? As he fires a couple of Novas, and one of them finds an amazing connection with a lot of these bio units of ByuN. ByuN is in serious trouble, and Zealots are on top of the third base as well. Classic has perhaps done it here, Artosis.
Yeah.
What a day, man. He took out Raynor, and now he takes out ByuN.
It's pretty crazy. ByuN knows that he is on the ropes. You can see the look on his face. He's muttering to himself as well. He's wondering how many Robos even are there right now. Hard to keep track at that point, but right now, Classic moving forward. He's trying to get the kill. A lot of charge lots going to both sides. Kind of a messy engagement, but he just has so much. Oh, a 6 snipe there, but I don't think that's enough anyways.
I don't think it does really matter. We're going to ask Classic, how many Robos should you get against Sterven? And his answer will be yes. That's all. GG gets called. Classic improves to 2-0 here in the Swiss format. What a day for that man. And he shows us that Protoss is not just here to play a couple series in the group stage. No, this man wants to make it into the playoffs and perhaps a whole lot more.
Dude, I tell you what, like this is very impressive from him. How many world champions has he beaten today?
2.
That's right, 2. That's all he does. We got to give him Oliveira in the next round, you know? Like, let's go. Let's keep going. But really, some amazing plays here from Classic. And I'm telling you what, Roddy, like, I'm feeling it. It's time. One of these Korean Protoss players is making a real deep run at this tournament. They are all playing fantastically. Classic most of all.
In the beginning of the day, I think a lot of people would have said, you're coping a little there, Dan, as all of us are, because we want to see them do well. But hey, Creator looked good, Hero looked damn good, but this man has looked the best of all of them. Classic, perhaps the Protoss hero of the day. Let's hear from the big man himself on stage with Rachel and Fancy.
What a series, Classic. What an impressive victory that you pulled from the jaws of defeat in Game 1. Tell me a little bit about how you turned that around in Game 2.
게임 2에서 어떻게 극복했는지 어떻게 알 수 있을까요?
게임 자체가 상황은 괜찮았어가지고 제가 집중만 해서 좀 잘만 하면 충분히 이길 수 있겠다라고 생각을 해서 중간부터 좀 집중을 잘 해서 이겼던 것 같아요.
So I think the game was going well. So I thought to myself, if I could just focus for a bit, I'm gonna win the game, and he did.
زي ما تشوفون كلاسيك بعد فوز 2-0 سألناه السؤال الأول في المقابلة أنه يتكلم عن كيف قدر أنه يقلب الطاولة في الجيم الثاني، لكن كان جوابه يقول أنه أنا بس كنت عارف أني أقدر أفوز، بس احتاج أني أركز شوي وبالأخير بقدر أخذ الفوز، وهذا اللي صار.
Now, Classic, I don't have to tell you, but it's been a long day and a long time since your victory over Raynor earlier. How do you keep your condition good in conditions like this?
오늘 하루 정말 길었는데 어떻게 컨디션을 관리하는지 알 수 있을까요?
지금 솔직히 너무 피곤해가지고 저도 컨디션 관리를 잘 못한 것 같아서 컨디션이 좀 안 좋아서 경기력이 좀 제가 좀 못했던 것 같아가지고 그게 좀 아쉽습니다.
So I'm actually really tired right now, but I think if I wasn't tired, I would have played much better. But since I'm tired, it didn't well as I planned.
سألنا السؤال الثاني لكلاسيك عن شعوره بعد ما اضطر انه يجلس يوم طويل جدا لما يقدر يخلص المباراة الأخيرة ضد بيون، وخصوصا انه يعني كان متواجد معنا من الظهر اليوم، فقدر كيف تقدر انك تحافظ على تركيزك وصحتك طول الفترة هذه. يقول صراحة انا يعني جدا جدا تعبان الآن، والشيء الوحيد اللي خلاني اصلا اقدر اني اكمل انه بس فقط حاولت اني اسوي اللي علي، ولو ما كنت تعبان كنت قدرت اخلص الجيم بسرعة.
And last question for you, Classic. You were 50-50 almost in matches against ByuN. You've played against him since 2016. What do you think of him as an opponent and as someone that you fought against for so long?
상대방으로는 완벽으로 이기고 치고 그러는데 상대방에 대해서 소감 한마디 부탁드립니다. 어떻게 생각하는지.
상대방이요?
네, 편 선수.
우선 첫 경기를 지기도 했고 굉장히 잘하는 선수여가지고 굉장히 힘든 싸움이었고, 또 변 선수도 컨디션이 좀 굉장히 피곤해가지고 경기력이 좀 잘 안 나오지 않았나. 근데 제가 좀 더 집중을 잘해서 이겼던 것 같습니다.
So it was a difficult play, and he's a great player. He's not in a good condition, but since I focused and I did my best on focusing, I think that's why I won the game.
السؤال الأخير في المقابلة تكلمنا مع كلاسيك بخصوص الماتش اب اللي بينه وبين بيون. دائما هم الوين ريت حقهم ضد بعض يكون 50-50، فوش اللي صار في المباراة هذه وكيف أنت أصلا تدخل على المباراة وأنت تقدر أنك تضمن الفوز في كل مرة بتلعب فيها ضده؟ يقول صراحة أنا ما أشوف أن بيون الآن في حالته الأفضل، وأشوف أني أنا لاعب أحسن منه، بس أحتاج أني أركز أكثر وأقدر أني أهزمه في كل مباراة.
Well, thank you both so much for your translations, and thank you so much, Classic, for the excellent final win of the day. I think it's time to send you all off to bed and make sure you're well rested for tomorrow's competition. But you know who doesn't need any sleep? Our analyst desks.
That's exactly what they don't need. أعزائنا المشاهدين، جاء الوقت اللي نرجع فيه على طول للاستوديو ونتكلم أكثر عن وش صار في هذه المباراة. كلاسيك سواها 2-1 مع فوزين الآن، خلونا نتكلم أكثر مع المحللين نشوف شنو ممكن يصير في المباراة غدا.
That's a lie, Rachel. I can't believe you've told the people a lie. But I'll tell you who's not lying. It's Classic here. He's doing great. It didn't look so great at the beginning of that series, but then at the end, he looked great. What do you think, Ben? You look great too.
Why, thank you, James. I just like what he was bringing, man. Like, he went from 4 robos, like, what can I do better in this game? 5 robo disruptor. I mean, honestly, after the first game, it was a bit of a disaster for him. Or when I say disaster, the fact that ByuN kind of came back from a bad situation and then beat him, I was like, oh man, this does not spell...
doesn't look great.
Yeah, it doesn't look great. I was actually quite worried for him, but the fact that he managed to pull this back, and I mean, that's Reina in his first series of the day. That is no easy opponent. And then beating ByuN as well. I dare say both those guys looked at, like, facing Classic and were like, hey, pretty good bracket for me, but Classic's playing really damn swell.
Yeah, the only Protoss to go 2-0 so far here in all of this. And again, when we look back at that first game, it looks kind of dicey. ByuN looked like he had a lot of these angles covered. Of course, it was a back-and-forth game, Nick, to start things off, but, you know, unfortunately for ByuN, wasn't able to last through the series.
Yeah, I mean, ByuN played very much like ByuN has played in the past. He's popping off. He's having these big aggro fights. But at the end of the day, I mean, Classic really does pull it together. And, you know, it's funny, honestly, when you looked at the lineup of all the players we had for this tournament, some stand out more than others,
Definitely.
right? And for me personally, Classic wasn't a guy I was too excited about, right? Obviously, he's been a great player in the past, but the way that he's playing now, this guy may get very, very deep in this tournament or even take the whole thing. He really has a very refined style of play. These are some pretty complicated games he's getting into here with ByuN, and ByuN is no easy opponent to try to hold off, especially when he really turns it on. But here we are. He actually comes out on top and wins this thing.
Is this particularly strong Protoss hope? I mean, you defeat, as you say, you defeat Reina, you defeat ByuN. That's 2 names at the upper echelon of the respective races. Ben, you wanted to say something maybe?
A wise man once said that Classic might be bringing in a new era of Classic domination.
Someone did say that, actually, at the
After
start.
one map win.
After
a new
one
era.
map win. Well, I mean, look, that wise man may not have been wrong. Being the only Protoss 2-0 so far.
He truly is a sage, isn't he? Our little tasteless over here.
I mean, I gotta say, I was looking at a lot of the other Protoss players as my source of real interest here, but...
I get what you're saying, though, about that. Because if you look at it, it's Hero and Creator. Guys that have got 1-1, and you would say, especially Hero, right? You would think to yourself, we think he might go a little bit further than Classic, but so far, not to be the case.
Yeah, not bad at all. I mean, right now we're in a situation where Protoss is, I mean, we're kind of, I think, trying to find their voice here, who's going to come out and really prove what the race can do and how it's going to be played. And maybe it's the one that we haven't been focusing on as much who's actually going to be doing it.
Definitely so. Well, we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping that we do get some decent Protoss on through. They're having a bit of a hard time lately. Maybe Classic's going to be that guy. He's got himself a little bit of a leg up already. But first things first here, for our post-show, let's take a look at the Dr. Suleiman Al-Habib defense of the day. We've got a few moments to go through. What are we looking at here? It's Creator going up against Serral. And admittedly, actually, this was a pretty good defense against the Zealot all in here, Ben.
You know, like, as soon as I see this, I was sat next to Dan backstage, and he had that bet with Kevin about who was going to win.
Oh,
he bet on Creator. Kevin bet on Serral. Don't ask me why Dan took that bet, but honestly, it was looking really
close.
good. As this was happening, Dan is immediately on the phone. He's texting Kevin. He's like, ha ha, look what's happening, look what's happening. And he's like, oh no, why is he moving back? Why is he moving back? And then immediately, he was like, oh my God, screw you, Kevin, you absolute lucky little shit. But yeah, I mean, like this moment, it was really damn cool by Serral. But honestly, Creator, he pooped the bed a little bit with this one because he absolutely should have just ran in there, absolutely blitzed him. It was like he was playing with his food a little bit.
Definitely overcomplicated it a little bit, but, you know, Serral being the guy he is, oftentimes, you know, some Zergs, quite a few Zergs could potentially do this, but it's the very top tier of Zergs that can make this happen against someone like Creator Nick.
You know, once the Warp Prism goes down, the rush basically ends. This is a really powerful rush because of how quickly it can activate and the damage starts to pile on. But the Achilles heel of it is that the Zealots have no way of actually defending the Warp Prisms. You have to figure out, do I keep the Warp Prism back? Do I use that and kind of slowly slow drip more Zealots in? Or do I instead try to like get into a position that's going to be more aggressive? That's what was tried back there, and it didn't work out.
Ben, I have a question. Are you hungry?
No.
Well, I'm
hungry.
Oh, you guys are hungry?
I'll help you.
You know
I'm
what?
starving.
I'm also hungry for the Colonel's Choice. Good job, Ben. As
my
we
bad.
take a look at the Colonel's Choice moment here from KFC to figure things. Ben,
Ben's like, are we going to eat food now in the cast? What's going
I
on,
was like,
Calaris?
do you know what time it is? Like, this is ridiculous.
I mean, it is.
I'm old enough. I can't eat right now and go to sleep right after. I'll have stomach problems and
Ben,
nightmares.
I'll have you know, you voracious minx, you. The Colonel's Choice is Oliveira here. Going, I can't do it.
So what? So
was it Rainer?
this is the well. I mean, the Colonel's gonna be happy with this one because he hates medevacs.
Get him! He got them. Sorry, Oliveira.
Oh, sorry.
That was not the Colonel's
KFC
Choice for Oliveira. Yeah, sorry. Do I dare ask Ben?
Yeah, go again. This time,
All right,
yes, yes.
I don't. Well, we just gotta wait a moment. All right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's been
Do we have no more segments we're gonna throw to?
No, we do.
We're going to
Wayne.
say yes to the next question. That's what we're going to do.
Let's see if Ben's ready for the next one.
I'm gonna like.
Let's see if Ben knows how to play along with these questions or what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
No,
that
I've
first
lost all
one, I
faith.
failed the test.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He's like, no. That was so stupid. I shouldn't have even asked Ben.
The desk is
Yeah,
delirious.
it's kind
over
of your
here. This
fault,
is great.
actually. You can blame me as much as you want. That's absolutely your fault. I've eaten so many brownies, dude. Like, I was not answering yes to that question.
So stupid. Okay. Anyway, what's the next thing we're doing? I
don't know.
I guess we'll find out in a moment.
Yeah, we waiting
We
for
are
that
waiting.
final. We did the KFC. We did one. We did the doctor. The doctor. That's the heel one, I guess.
You mean Dr. Suleiman Habib? Yes.
Yeah.
We've
Sorry,
done that.
I got to get that one memorized here. Sorry,
You
guys.
have no clue what's coming on next. I don't know where you're going with it.
Yeah,
And
I'm
just
trying to guess
waiting.
the next
Sorry,
segment.
you're being very serious.
I am waiting until they're ready. Let's talk about some results, because there's some cool results.
Please.
Okay, so the 2 zeros we have so far are Maru, Solar, Classic, and Serral. So there will be a combination of those matches to be the 2 zeros to be the first people advancing through, which actually, as a 4 players, is actually a really fantastic lineup.
It's super cool, and I feel like Classic right now, he is the odd one out, but it's like the way that he's been playing, he's actually still a scary opponent for any one of them, which is kind of cool. Like, I don't want to see him go up against a Maru or a Serral. I think like maybe the most chance against like a Solar of the bunch, but I mean, anytime you get a chance for Maru, Serral, and both of them playing peak form, right? Because so far, every time they meet, it's like,
Well,
oh yeah, Maru's just...
they know
up to form.
it's a very important tournament as
Yeah,
well, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
even in the what we could call the group stage here for this kind of Swiss format, they're still going to be taking it extremely, extremely seriously. It's not. This is by no means a throwaway game at this point.
You're right. They certainly know this is an important tournament. I mean, they
Shut up, you.
they've gotten this far, and they do know that this is important, and they gotta try to keep getting farther.
Look, nothing's
Am I
going to
right?
beat his no. I don't
Yeah,
care what
yeah.
you say at this
Let's
point.
ask him if he's hungry again. See what he
This is
does.
a great segment, guys.
Yeah.
I love this.
Well, again, we just have to wait until the next section's ready.
So the next section's just not rest. We're
Oh,
waiting.
yeah,
Okay.
no.
They're really hanging us out to dry, aren't they? They're like,
I'm
good.
doomed. Yeah.
Well, I hope they keep me on camera a little bit longer. This is what I was hoping to get.
This is what
How do
you
you guys
were
like
born
my hair? How they did my hair? Artosa says it looks like I'm like a Lego man. Like you could just pop this right off.
Yeah. Just
If
one
I
piece.
want to go into construction, they just take this off here and then put the hat on, and I'm ready to go.
I kind of missed the rolling pins you had in it earlier. You look so damn cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank
the
you.
little clip you had, that was
Yeah, I
lovely.
I did have the
That was
clips on.
lovely.
It didn't work because this is what I look like now. So
All right, do you want to talk about the players that are currently in danger?
yes.
All right.
Do they know this is an important tournament?
I'm going to go with yes.
Okay. Yes.
Oh, I feel like, yeah, anyway. We have Hero Marine, Eleza, Oliveira, and Spirit. So our non-Koreans down there, not having the best of times. Of course, they're having to go up against great opponents as a whole. But, of course, the world champion down there, it's been a little bit of a rough time for him.
Yeah, a bit surprised to see him down there. A bit surprised to see Gabe. I mean, Gabe's had a bit of a rough trot over the last 6 months. Just feels like you know, people are kind of catching on to his tricks.
Yeah, yeah.
And like Elazer and Spirit, those guys have been people you talk about doing very well in the foreign scene recently. So seeing them 0-2-0-2, I think that just goes to show the caliber of the competition, right?
Actually, I think that what you said at the beginning of that is actually very surprising. But Hero Marine's there.
Yeah.
I think of all of those names, I mean, yes, they're all great names, but Hero Marine has shown a tendency, Nick, to be able to hang with a lot of great names, regardless of tournament. He's extremely consistent when it comes to results. So to see him go 0-2, okay, you have to go up against Hero and Creator. Maybe he's not feeling TVP right now.
I would say don't sleep on Hero Marine. I think that he's a guy who, whether he's doing very well in a tournament or he's in a particularly tough phase where it's all about survival, he does seem to be able to come out on top. I mean, and also, you see it even in his interviews, right? I mean, he's always having fun with it. He's giving fun answers. He's got a good attitude. So I think he's got a good shot going forward, but it's not going to be easy. It will not be easy.
Thank you.
Okay.
Was that the end of your sentence before?
Yes.
Fantastic. All right.
This is the best segment yet. This is.
Guys, guess what? The
We're so
segment's ready.
tired. It's so
it
late.
is? All right.
Ben,
I'm ready.
Are we going to try the... Yeah.
Oh, hey, why you should? Oh, okay. Well, they just pulled it. Who was the MVP from Korea? It's Maru, of course, for the day. And I mean, when you look at what he's been able to do, he's the only guy in those players that's gone 2-0-2-0. So he's been able to do that successfully. And of course, you go back to that first game up against Cure, where, I mean, let's be real, Ben. A lot of us thought he was dead.
I mean, Tasers was the one guy making the call that was like, no, Maru wins
got
this.
this.
When he's like 100 supply behind, I was like,
He's cast a lot of Maru.
Yeah, he has. But even game 2, like for that whole series, style points. So I'm not surprised he got MVP.
Yeah.
I mean, he goes 1-0, super close comeback against Cure. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to go speed Banshees against him and really kill him. Of course I'm going to do this now. And then he just owns him. And it's like, you can do that with the second best hero in the world. That's ridiculous.
This really excites me, Nick, because Maru on this kind of form, if he's able to show this throughout the tournament, could be looking at the champion.
I mean, I think especially that game where it was the base trade and it seemed like he had less, but he managed to make that into what was actually more and basically outposition and pull through. Look, I mean, he's always a safe bet for a player that is going to take the whole thing. So don't count him out. Expect him to go deep. And if not, it's all we're going to be talking about here on the desk because he should be somebody that, I don't know, top 4, maybe take the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I am hungry this time, James.
For Maru games?
Like, well, the good news
Whatever
is
the next segment is.
we're going to do the KFC segment again. You're in luck. Throw it back on screen.
Were you really trying to set yourself up for something that there's no more segments?
There's no more?
No, it's done.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
That's over. It's over. That's day 1. It got a bit loopy at the end. I do apologize. But you know what?
It's been a good day of StarCraft.
It has been a good day of StarCraft. It's been very good. And again, looking at MVP,
VP.
Maru get MVP. MVP's coming in later on another day. He's actually here. It's kind of weird as well. We are done for day number 1 of Gamers8. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Nick, for joining me here on the desk for what was obviously the greatest segment of the day. We are done for day number 1 of Gamers8. Join us tomorrow, same time, same place, where we will continue the Swiss format and see who moves on into the bracket. We'll see you then.